It's dark out here. It's a cold day here too. So
Yeah. Oh, we had 60s.
Oh wow, that's nice.
Yeah.
That's really nice.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, I keep thinking about how horrible it is that we just love it and it's killing us.
I know. I know. I know, right? It doesn't make any sense, but
yeah, it's just
no.
like it's so not right, but it's so nice
Mhm.
right now. Yeah.
Yeah, and we do what we can, and we need to enjoy life because every moment is so precious. So can't let it overpower.
Yep.
That duty
Yep.
part can't overpower the beauty part, right?
Yeah. I like that. That's very nice. Duty can't overpower beauty. That's good.
Right.
It's a nice phrase.
Yeah, isn't it true? I mean, to be in balance is, when I'm focused on the river with the invasives and trying to get that all, it can be overwhelming until you just keep it balanced with the beauty of, what's in front of you, looking at both. Yeah.
Well, I think that's part of the secret too, is just really appreciating
Right.
and valuing the wonderfulness we do have, however it shows up, because there's so much of it still.
Yeah.
And there always is, actually. Sometimes you have to look a little harder than others, and sometimes it takes a little distance before you see it.
Yeah.
But it's always there.
I'm with you. Yeah, gratitude is such a fuel, isn't it? It's just the fuel for life, I think. Keeps you plugged in.
It makes all the difference. It makes all the difference. I was listening to a thing this morning about intent.
Okay.
And so just being intentful about wanting to notice and see and recognize the beauty around you is a lifestyle.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Yeah, it sometimes takes practice, but it's the intent, the wanting to see that instead of luxuriating in the anger or the frustration or I can still remember a workshop where somebody said, how do you love being angry? Or how do you love being frustrated? And it's there. If you keep it up, there's something about it that's appealing. That feels like it's expressing part of you or whatever. And that's the hook that keeps you. So when you can see that, you can let it go. You can make choice then, is that really what I want to immerse myself in?
I'm with you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I keep going with energy flows where your attention goes. And if you're focused on the negative things, then it's just going to go,
Exactly. Yeah. You see that everywhere instead of seeing beauty everywhere.
Yeah.
You have your choice. It's always there.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about your journey in life. What got you from where you started to here?
Oh. Well, challenging childhood kept me outdoors and kept me deeply connected with nature. And so I was blessed that way. I was also blessed with learning flexibility when things weren't predictable in my childhood. So I think that's one of the gifts I bring to the world is flexibility and spontaneity when needed. So that was there. And just the interconnectedness of everything was always there. But I think when the vision happened at Bridget Center, and then I started moving forward with buying this former little chapel building on a hilltop in the countryside with a fieldstone building with a little hand chiseled school building to make it a peace, nourishment, and ecological harmony center. And I'd like to share a little more about that, but it didn't come easy, and it came before the world was ready. It was like a high vision that came to me. I mean, a real physical, visceral vision on this property. And then I knew it was for its time. And I just had a guide it, and I'm allowing it to unfold for its time. But it's a very high rate, vibrating vision of love for, our interconnectedness. And I had seen it as kind of a religious retreat center, but it's more of a ecological harmony education center. So it's all
And you've
about the
really,
ecology of us, right? We're part of ecology. So to start seeing all of ourselves, all of us, as part of nature rather than there to, overpower it or
yeah.
use it as resources for us, that's where a shift is happening, I think. And that is where we come alive and come awake, so that's hopefully what my vision is. And can I say more about that with Bridget?
Well, you can, but I also want you
Yeah.
to talk a little bit, I mean, because that certainly is a story in resilience.
Uh-huh. Holding out. Look at this.
I mean, it's
2009 we had it, the vision. 2012
yeah.
we got the property. And here we are, still without
Well, there's the
heat.
roof.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
There's a lot.
heating, a stone building.
Yeah.
And wells.
Mhm. Right. Yes.
Yeah. So, and you've done what? You've got a herb garden and a business, I guess, out of there.
Mhm.
So,
Yes.
and the cemetery.
Yes, green burial, natural conservancy burial happening, but we are presently doing cremains, and it's just amazingly beautiful. Oh my goodness, it's so heartwarming. And so lots of things happening there. So Bridget Center itself is like the mothership of a lot of projects happening where people gather at Bridget and then we bring it back out into the community. So like we have a big river project in town here that we're working on that really was inspired through Bridget Center, and lots of volunteers. And
So what are you doing?
yeah, well, when people come out, depends on if it's groups or individuals, but I throw wind chimes in the trees, and then we're taking out invasives, or we're planting seeds, or I'm teaching them how to meditate on the riverbank and just notice that everything in life passes. When you look at the river, everything's always moving, and how to be with that movement, letting go of things for something new to show up. And it's quite beautiful to be near a river, so nourishing, and spiritually, emotionally, physically. I mean, we are water. Earth is water. We've got to honor that water and be really interconnected with feel that interconnection, and then things do flow. But it's taking time to pause, right? So yeah.
I want to introduce Ani, who's
Yeah.
just joined us also, who has a great affiliation for water as well. So that was a
Yeah.
nice segue.
Hi, Ani. I listen to your podcast too. We have a lot in common.
Dude, my goodness. I
Yeah.
love hearing what you're saying.
Oh,
Where is this super duper oasis?
We are out in Kewaskum, Wisconsin. And so about an hour north of Milwaukee, southeastern Wisconsin, in a very beautiful, in the land of many tribes that were here once here also. And it's called the Kettle Moraine. So the earth has very kettly terrain from the glaciers coming through. And so a lot of big hills in our area. And we happen to be the project happens to be on a hilltop in the countryside. And so the vistas, as you know, when you are in a hilltop experience, the vistas are very healing, right? It's a part of healing to feel that you can observe rather than be in the story, but observe life. And so that's the beauty of Bridget. And yeah, thank you for saying that.
I love what you're saying. I can feel it. I
Yeah.
see it.
Yeah.
BridgetCenter.org.
Yep.
Thank you.
Here's okay. can I show you a couple pictures here?
Oh, yeah,
There's
yeah, yeah.
some women herbalists coming together to do an herb spiral. That's through Linda Conroy's work with what Midwest Women's Herbal Conference. They're out there. I mean, we've got the labyrinths happening, grass on grass labyrinths. And so Bridget's gratitude gardens are, the inner gardens are there for healing our bodies, you know, and having that interconnected relationship with the plants that are here, each one to help heal us.
Are you able?
True medicine, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
You able to inhabit there and grow there all year long? What about the winter?
No, winters, we've already shut our doors for the fall. It's very seasonal yet. The project out there is very seasonal.
But
you
that
know,
works okay.
it's, you know what, you work with it because, you know, out of every crisis, something new is trying to be born. And here we have these beautiful buildings, but they have no heat. We have no running water yet.
Okay.
But we've been operating for how many years, right? And
Yeah.
and it's still happening. So, you know,
You put the
can't let
roof on
anything get
when?
down.
Yeah, it needed a new roof. It took several years to raise the money and make that happen. So she's just re-roofed that
Mhm.
was 2 years ago, probably.
Yep. $42,000 roof, metal roof, white, cool metal roof to work with the climate change. You know, that's important. So,
I'm so glad you're doing this.
thanks.
It takes so much
Yeah.
beyond the normal.
Mm.
And you are that. You have that. You see that. You feed that. Thank you.
Thank you. The name Bridget, it was St. Bridget's Church. It was a little mission church.
Was it?
I was like, Bridget, who is she? What is this about? You know, because I had this vision there. And I mean, and then I got this clear download that said, do not, you know, like stay with that spelling of Bridget, when I really wanted to turn it into the, you know, goddess energy with different spelling. There's 12 ways to spell Bridget. And I was thinking, well, it needs a little bit of a change. So, but no, it was like, stay with Bridget. And then until one day it hit me, oh, Bridget, we're here to bridge sacred connection right now for personal and planetary transformation. That's what we're doing. That's why we're there.
But isn't there a saint?
Yes. So let me say, with the saint, she lived in 5th century, Kildare, Ireland. She was a transformational leader for her time.
Sure.
She opened abbeys and monasteries for both men and women under one roof, spiritual learning centers, right? And out of that, if you know the story of the saint and the goddess, I mean, it's about healing, creating space to let go of what's no longer needed. Then out of that, it creates a void for something new to come through. So then co-creativity is the second step. So she was a healer. She was all about poetry. Poetry is simply expressing, right? Poetry is not just written word, but it's the art of co-creating, right? And then the third piece is she's the patron saint of blacksmiths. So when you think of blacksmiths, it's about working with the fire within. And this is where I'm really deeply touched. This is where my call is right now, is to get super focused, right, on what our joy is, what brings us the most joy, and then to stay in that space of moving with what brings you joy and in service, right? But just like a pilot, 90% of a pilot's time is they've got this route. I know this well. You've got this vision of where you're going, but how to stay focused to let it unfold and make it happen. 90% of your time is spending, you know, distractions that redirect you back onto the path, right? So you're always redirecting back onto the path of being super focused as to why you're here. And that's what a blacksmith does. You work with that fire within, because we all know we can be real reactive right now, and choices that maybe we're in judgment of what other people are doing. If we're not living a regenerative, if we're trying to live a regenerative life and others aren't, we can be in real judgment at times, and that's not the call. It's just to be in our own, staying true to our own walk, and then letting that model it to others, right?
Yeah.
So
Staying, keeping your eye on the prize,
yeah, that
staying
vision.
on track.
Yeah.
Now, while you're navigating through 3D dimensionality.
Yeah. Right. Right. Yeah.
It's an art.
It is.
An
It's
absolute art.
Mhm.
Thank you. Oh, I'm so glad to meet you.
No, same here, Ani. So the energy, how to work with energy it's how to work with the unseen, which is the feminine, the feminine divine expressing through all of us, and call it magic, call it Reiki, call it whatever name you want to call it. Call it inspiration, call it wisdom coming from a source beyond us. But how to listen to that, how to listen to that and let that guide us is the call, right?
That's the work.
Yeah, that's the work, right?
How is that manifested in your life, where you've had to listen to that call in spite of yourself?
Well, I used to be on Ritalin for ADHD. I mean, I couldn't get still with a thought to save my life. And so to drop into a place, and it takes a lot of different practices, whatever. I'm not here to promote practices, but find the practice that works for you to get into a quiet space where you can feel the love of who you are, the love of source, creator, God moving through you. And then as you start to know that, it's becoming to me that it's my birthright that I've been created in love, and I am an expression of divinity like no other, like every other one on the planet is, if we believe in our true authentic expression. And when we can stay in that place of self-love, well, then it just ripples out from the center of our being. And so manifesting has become very playful for me lately. I've gone through a lot lately too to get to that place, like taking care of my mom, and she's suddenly regenerated and after COVID decided she wanted to move into a care facility rather than me just taking care of her, because she wanted socialization. And she says, "Be happy for me, I'm happy." And that happened about 10 days ago.
How old is she?
She's 87. And I went through this moment of grief because I'm a death doula, and I just always saw myself taking care of her till the end. In her home, I just had the thought in my head that it would be in her home where she was living, and that I was the one that's supposed to, maintain that home and everything else. But more and more, she needed more and more care, and she wants 3 square meals a day, and what. So how do you falter on what, I'm like, okay, well then that's what we're going to do. And now she's back in socialization again, and her mind is more alert again. And, she's like rebooted herself. And this is after COVID. She had this realization, like, I don't want to be sitting alone at home anymore. She had COVID. I got to be clear on that. After she had COVID in September, she made this decision. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
So you just flow, right? My nickname is Flo, by the way. So you just flow with what shows up in life.
It really is. It
Yeah,
really
I drive a smart car and my license plate says my spiritual name, Flo, Flo.
Nice.
It keeps me in that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's amazing how she has recovered and revitalized and
She's amazing.
freed you
Yeah,
from
right?
work.
I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. But
Yeah.
like I said, I had to go like everything. You let go of a thought of how you think things should be, and you do go into grief. It's not that easy to let go of how you think things should be, or the beliefs that you have. So, I was going into grief like, oh, I failed her in some way, or I failed me in some way for, my doula work. No, I mean, it's really clear that when she goes into transition, I'll be right there with her. I don't have to be bathing her or feeding her right now. So
You have a different mission, a different,
exactly, yeah.
you've been freed up by the universe.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yes, and she knows it's a gift to me too. So
Good.
yeah.
Yeah, and she really does know that it's a gift. I thought that was very sweet also.
Was
Very
it? Yeah.
astute of her. Yeah, very
She's
nice.
a brilliant woman. She's
To share that.
yeah, she's brilliant. So
So
yeah.
what do you do when you're not at Bridget Center?
Well,
When are you not at Bridget Center?
well, I have children that are really invested in the world, and I support them. And so I'm a new crone in the world too, because my youngest is now in college, and so I'm getting into that crone energy of wise woman. You don't have to play mommy anymore. That's been a gift. But just like this morning, my phone rings. I'm involved with this big river project that Bridget Center founded in the village, and my phone rings this morning. Now, I didn't have this on my trajectory, but you flow with what shows up. And for over a year, we have a dam in town in the River Hill Park. That's well, it was created in love years ago to create a space for the village children to swim, right? And then they put a dam in, and now we're, what are we, 40, 50 years later, and I feel like I am the river often. I embody it, and I just know that it needs to flow there, but I'm not pushing any agenda to remove the dam. I'm just bringing up the questions for dialogue in the village about the function of that dam and why we have it, because it really doesn't serve anything anymore, and it blocks the fish flow, and so now we're on a dialogue rather than removing the dam. Right now, our village is exploring putting in a fish pass so that the fish can come upstream, because our little river project is a part of the Milwaukee River, which we're at the kind of at the top of the watershed. And we need to keep our river healthy. We have fresh water here, the Great Lakes and everything. It's just amazing how blessed we are. So all of a sudden my phone rings this morning, and it's, somebody from the village saying, let's get going on that fish pass that you've been talking about, Peggy, our agendas are opening up for something new. And so just like that, I'm on with Milwaukee River Keeper, who writes the grants. They have the grants that they know they want to get in to offer us. And so Monday night they're presenting. I've got the emails going back and forth with the stuff for the packet for the village trustees. I called the Boy Scout that I'm working with. It's the Eagle Scout candidate. Got him coming on the Monday night meeting to present with me with the Milwaukee River Keepers. It's about relationship, right? And about putting your attention on the river and letting people know how sacred our river is and how to reverence it. It's constantly coming through me. So today, a lot of my day was spent, looking at the grants that she's proposing so I can educate the village trustees and, having conversations with some of them today, plus the Boy Scout mom, and so it's lovely because it all flows. It's all going to happen in 22. I just know it in my bones that this Fish Pass is going to happen. And
Right.
we're also celebrating our 125th anniversary as a village. And wouldn't it be nice to, bring in a drumming circle right on the edge of the water and do some water blessing songs. And we've done that in the past. We did a river festival a few years ago and people appreciated that. And just like it makes you pause, we filled the river with, well, Catherine was a part of that. She helped me from a distance. But we had about 100 canoes and kayaks get in the water that day. And then the drumming was happening and everybody came around the drumming, and the drumming happened in a circle of cedar trees. I have goosebumps right now. And it's just so sacred. It was so sacred.
What's the village called?
It's called Kewaskum. So it's after Chief Kewaskum.
Could you spell that?
Kewaskum.
And pronounce it again, please.
Kewaskum. That's how I pronounce it.
Kewaskum.
Kewaskum, yeah. Mhm.
Kewaskum, but there's no S. Kewaf.
No, there is an S. Kewaskum.
SK, not F.
SK, yeah.
Kewaskum.
Yeah.
Really nice. Thank you.
Yeah.
And
Do you think your river work has anything to do with permaculture? Because I know you do a lot of permaculture stuff.
Do a lot
at
of
the-
permaculture. Absolutely. It's about listening.
Yeah.
It's about listening to the land and the patterns. We're planting thousands of native plants and native plant seeds as we're restoring 1,700 feet along the riverbank. And we had to use permaculture principles. So I think permaculture.org or something like that, but we have permaculture teachers at Bridget Center. Our lead person for the Green Burial is an educator. He has books written. His name is Bryce Rudick. In the permaculture field, he lives in Milwaukee, and he's been advising our project. So how we do the cremains into the ground is very, very important, that you just don't put a bag of cremains down and then put a plant on it, because cremains are very toxic. A lot of salt and something else in it. It could kill anything that you plant right on top. So you need to amend them with compost, in a nitrogen starter, like coffee grounds or something, and debris, brown dead leaves and debris from your garden. Put it in a big 5-gallon bucket with the cremains and then put them into the earth, and then plant your berry bushes and nut trees and things on top. This is the way to intentionally work with it. And then where our green burial is on the land and how it flows with, our green burial is intended to not be disturbed once we plant in there or place anyone in there. So like the herbs are in the inner gardens of Bridget Center, the green burial is the outer gardens of Bridget Center. So it's very beautiful.
do you know anything about Bios urn?
The
Yeah.
bio urns, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's another, I love the creativity of, like, I think it was your podcast where you said, we're just dirt and we're going back to the earth,
I belong there. I make dirt.
I love it. I remember that on your podcast.
That's
But, and our bodies are organic. We eat organic food. We're matter form. When we return to the earth, what better way than to leave a legacy of love for future generations by giving our bodies naturally back to the earth?
Yeah, we withhold so much from the planet. We should not withhold our body.
Right.
I mean, that's just so ridiculous.
Mhm.
course
I
it is.
watched my father get buried in a mahogany casket in a cement thing, and it's just like, why? And it was so much money. And I mean, there's just absolutely no point. And he's on a hill. So I suspect he's going, well, the cement thing will probably keep him there
There you
longer.
go.
But
Mhm.
yeah, but there's a tendency to slide. So it's just, I don't know. I just don't see the point.
So do you understand how that all came to be? Just so we can appreciate the modern day, you know, two things. Embalming started in the Civil War when the mothers of grieving sons wanted their sons to be returned back home. And a army doctor creatively decided to have the blood exit the body and inject arsenic in it for a preservative for the body, so the body could make it home to the grieving moms. So that's part of the modern day movement, embalming, right? Going back to that.
Right.
And that's just 100 years old. I mean, we didn't do that here. That's not part of our nature, but that fed a need at the time, right?
Yep.
The need is different now. But then the second thing is, you know, just the whole death literacy thing is huge. It's a huge piece that I'm bringing forward through death doula work, is that we're afraid of dying, right? We all know that we're just uncomfortable with it because we haven't had the dialogue. And in 2016, I had 14 deaths in 1 year. That's more than one a month. Significant deaths, which really brought me strongly into this work. And a few months before that happened, I had a gray horned owl, like about 3 feet tall, sitting on my front yard in the middle of the day. And when I called the refuge to come and look at it, she said he's got a virus and he'll probably be gone within the week. But he didn't look like he had a virus, but he came to me. And then following that, I had the 14 deaths in 1 year. And during that time, many of those deaths I companioned through, we'll call it after death care in this realm. But, you know, going to the funeral home, doing the planning. And there was one moment in one of the plans where the funeral director, and this is, you know, this is what they know, and this is their choice on what they promote, but they said for an extra $500, we can do a beaded caulk around the top of the concrete vaults that they create to put the casket in so that nothing can get in, meaning no way that the organic matter can interconnect with the earth that it came from.
Right.
I mean, when I heard that, I had to leave the room. I was physically sick because I thought, and that was a sign, right? Your body has this wisdom that says, why are you feeling sick right now, Peggy? What's going on? Like, I didn't have it in my head why I was feeling sick, but something was making me sick that had me go back to it in my time of meditation and just hold myself and say, what's going on? And that's not natural to me.
Yeah.
That's not natural to me. And the concrete vaults came about because when we're tending our big graveyards, and we're mowing the lawn and mowing the lawn and mowing the lawn, we don't want a bumpy road, you know?
That's right.
Because they sink, right? So you put these concrete vaults in. So that's a counterintuitive thing when you live by permaculture principles. Why are we mowing it? Why are we doing any of that, you know? So my passion is to offer another choice with the natural burial. I'm not saying that it's wrong with what anyone's doing. I'm just saying I'm here to offer another choice. And people can choose what they need and what they want, you know, based on their experiences, their values, and maybe by me modeling something different, it might create more ease for them. That's what I'm hoping. You know, in the future.
I mean, we say we love the earth so much. Why would we want to shut it out? at the end. It would be so much better to become part
Yeah.
of what we claim to love so much.
Mm. Mhm.
So where are you in the development of this passion, of this intention?
Mhm. Well, I wrote it all out in 2019. The green burial, the vision came through me. It's on paper. I haven't had time to put all my attention back into that. Right now, we're looking to buy some of the land behind Bridget Center. We'd like to create an oak savanna is the energy that's showing up. The oak trees are very powerful, important trees on this planet for housing and feeding so much of our natural habitat, that I really honor that. And the oak tree is a part of the Bridget legend and lore too. So intentionally, I'm supposed to be doing this and creating this oak savanna. I started following the green burial movement probably 6 years ago. And at the time there was only like 60 green burial. And now there's, I think over 600 in the country. And now the Green Burial Council is the overriding organization that guides this into being. And the people that are part of the Green Burial Council, you can Google it, are tremendous educators, passionate people about earth care. And
Nice.
I know some of the people on the board, and their commitment is quite amazing.
Is that a website?
Yes.
.org?
Yes, probably .org, greenburialcouncil.org, or just do Green Burial Council, it'll come up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got involved in green burials in 2005 when I had cancer and didn't know if I was going to survive it or not, and started to look at what I wanted to have happen.
Right.
And at that time, it was like, oh, there were 2 or 3 people, and there was a couple of videos on YouTube. That was it.
Yes.
There was nothing at that time. So it's just amazing how much it's grown. It really is.
It's
And
very
the fun of
exciting.
painting your own casket, you can get a cardboard box that you can decorate yourself.
Isn't that great?
That would be fun.
Let's just talk about that for a moment, because I was at a doula conference in New York City, and this little lady with a walker comes in. She's 90 years old, and her name was Schutzi, and she was a little German lady. I'm a little Jewish lady, excuse me. And she came with her trifold presentation to talk to us about funerals, because she said in New York, in New York, there's so many Jewish people, and their custom is to bury within 3 days, right? And she's just like, that's too quick to pull the family together that's scattered in all this, these days. So she was promoting funerals, and I want to do this at Bridget, where, you order the cardboard casket, whatever you want to call it, cardboard box, and then you have a party, and you have all kinds of arts and crafts, and people intentionally come and honor you.
I'm writing stuff on it. They're making pictures.
Yes, and write their love notes and write their poetry and decorate it and art, and then that's the box you get buried in.
I love that.
And gosh, because how do you get a party together after you die? And it's so much easier to just celebrate life while you're still here, and it's actually it's celebrating the story. Yeah, it's celebrating, like it would be celebrating the story of Peggy Kober. It's a story, right? It's just a story. It's a story for its time, and it has a start and an end. My essence lives on beyond this lifetime, right?
Right, exactly.
But why not honor what it was?
This lifetime. Yes, this participation in the flow of life.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
Mm.
Yes. I love that. Feeling that.
You're just sparking me with because I'm not involved in anything. I'm working I'm learning I'm studying, I'm growing, I'm managing myself,
Yes.
my life.
Mhm.
Um, but I came out here from Midwest, from Indianapolis, Indiana,
Okay.
to Santa Barbara,
Yeah.
and the Conscious Evolution Initiative.
Yes. Barbara Marx Hubbard. I was an
Absolutely.
agent. I'm an agent of conscious evolution as well.
Good. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're the second entree of folks.
Okay.
I was in the first
Oh my
at,
gosh.
at 2000.
Yes.
Yeah, we started it then, the
Oh my
Gateway to
gosh.
Conscious Evolution.
I'm sure you knew her and I got to meet her as well. I had a personal connection with her alone in her hotel room once. I was so honored to be in the company of Barbara Marx Hubbard, you know?
I was with her every day.
You were with her every day.
I made her chicken soup.
Oh my
We
God.
would have dinner and a little bit of wine, and it was, and I even lived with her for 3 days. That's all I could stand. I was throwing up. I couldn't, because she doesn't have much awareness of other people.
Oh, well, her
Right.
her
She
imagination.
was mission-minded,
Yes, mission-minded.
was, and
Yeah.
she did a fantastic job.
Mhm.
I love her.
Mhm.
And I did the memorial. I put together the memorial for her here when
Yeah.
she died April the 10th.
Did she die at age 90? Was that right?
87
89.
or
89.
89. I forget which. 80. It might have been 89. I don't think so. But she was amazing. She just
So with that, let's stay on
my
that. She taught me how to go into the chrysalis, how to put everything else out here and just to be in the chrysalis of what's emerging, right? Because I was holding a vision and I didn't know how to be with all this. And then you're in this crisis and you feel like you're a ping pong ball reacting to everything in life when you want to be focused on why you're here. And God bless her. I learned a lot from her.
She was 89 when she died.
89. Oh, okay, thanks.
Yeah. Yeah.
When did you make your turn from Ritalin, Ritalinized, to being in the present moment, unfolding?
Right. Something really significant for me was being a student of nonviolent communication through Marshall Rosenberg's work when I was a chaplain. It was part of my education, and it shifted. You think you're learning this stuff to just learn communication skills, but it's really transformational work. If you're a student of nonviolent communication. So the Center for Nonviolent Communication.org is where just to learn how to, it shifted consciousness in me. You first, the pattern is you first start with yourself, noticing what's happening. You first are all about the reactivity about something, but, as you're writing it down or speaking it to somebody, you're noticing it, you're speaking the feelings, the emotions, and then you sit in self-care and remember a time when maybe that feeling was met or that need was met, and you can quiet the story there. And then you can shift into, well, I wonder what that other person was thinking, feeling, needing when they said this to me that created harm in me, like what was their experience? And then you get into the consciousness of that other person and you realize, oh my gosh, and then, I've integrated heart math into it as well, where you get quiet then at that point and you just say, and you breathe through your heart, you know, and you breathe in something that you appreciate. And then you're just in this quiet place and you just ask, what do I need to know at this time now, knowing both perspectives of something? And then something often divine comes through.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah. And
Very nice.
I did a lot of inner workshop work with that process that really unloaded a lot of things that I felt were harmful in my life that no longer hold energy in me. And I really believe a lot of it was ancestral, like through my DNA, that I released. So I don't feel that my children are suffering from old patterns that may have been a part of
Bless your heart.
lineage, you know?
Really great.
I started a rekindling ancestral memory journey, 8-month journey, October the 27th. I was bouncing off the wall for weeks, just kind of coming back to, you know, just to go back, you know, to just coming off of the walls to really go back. And but I don't I don't want this to be about me because it's you. So
Yeah,
I'll
and
stop.
talk a little bit more about the ancestor thing. I think people would be interested. How do you understand that? How does that impact your life? Because I know there've been several places where it's really.
Well, I'm a trained spiritual director, so I know to watch for patterns.
Trained what in
Spiritual director?
Yeah, in
So-
what? Catholic?
No, not necessarily, because as a trained spiritual director, you're trained to use the language of the person you're working with.
Yeah, I just wondered.
Spirituality. So, you know, it was through a Franciscan spirituality center in La Crosse, Wisconsin that I got my training.
Okay.
It's not necessarily, you know, Franciscan is energy, right? The St. Francis of Assisi. Yeah.
Yes.
But it's just about being present to what shows up and then not pushing it away anymore, just staying with it. You know, like we've had some moments on this call even where we just let it come forward. Don't say, oh, I'll deal with that later. But that's not always easy because you can't always be present to everything in the moment. I'm sorry, but you know, if you're in the middle of a meeting and somebody says something that reminds you of something your dad did to you once that wasn't a good thing or whatever, you know, you've got to learn strategies like holding your hands, you know, under the table or holding yourself through it and then promising that you'll get to it later. And then in your evening prayer time, meditation time, just be with it and just let the emotions come through. No longer pushing them back, but just let them come through. And
How did you
move through it?
Well, what was your approach to your ancestral knowledge?
That it was ancestral?
Huh?
Well, you do some what would you call it? Soul recovery work sometimes. I don't know, this is pardon me.
Right, that's it.
You know, it's in the deeper layers of yourself that you can release. And it's also, there's so many, it's all about the unseen to release and to remember your what brings you joy and who you are on the truest, deepest level, right? So it's about self-awareness. And
did you do ancestral lineage?
I'm not sure when you say ancestral lineage, it might be a way, a strategy that's working for you that I'm not familiar with. I mean,
Not working for me.
Well, I did DNA. I did some, there's a lot of clearing your DNA was one thing that I did. There's a book called that, Clearing Your DNA or something like that. But, you know, there was a moment in my life where my dad had heart disease. All my siblings had a heart issue, all within a couple months of each other. I have four siblings, and my stepdad had a heart issue. And I just made the request to bring something to me that helps clear this whole heart issue in my lineage. Like, what's going on in the heart, right? And then I learned how to do that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
When you said remembering, what came to me was putting things back together, remembering,
Yes.
putting those members back.
I love it.
So they fit,
Mhm.
in the right place.
So when you write the word remember, always write it RE hyphen. Makes people pause with that word.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't have any information of my lineage,
Okay.
but I've got a lot of energy
Okay.
from my lineage
Mhm.
that I don't know what it is.
Okay. Hmm. Mhm. But
But
you're noticing
it's
it.
beyond this lifetime.
Yes. But Ani, you're taking time to notice. That's 50% of it. You're
Yeah.
noticing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you don't have to react to it anymore once you've noticed it. You can learn how to be with it.
And I think sometimes naming those feelings
Yes.
allows them to release.
You'd be the master at that one, Catherine, with your story.
Yeah.
Right? You know?
Yeah, focusing is a technique that I come back to time and time again.
Mm.
Learning how to understand the nuances by which we frame our experiences. I mean, fear is not really much of a nuance,
Mhm.
But anxious about something is a little more nuanced,
Okay.
or trembling about. These are all subtle differences, but they make a huge shift. When you hit the right phrase that fits that feeling, you'll know it, and it will be gone, because it's the blocking it that keeps us here. And when you accept it by giving it its name, then it can release. You don't have to keep that anymore. Yeah.
So what I'm hearing from you
I know
is that you don't have to name it. You just have to be with it, right?
Yeah. Well, the naming really helps because there's so many layers. So you can go through layers of that feeling.
No, I meant like naming why it's there.
Oh, no, you don't need to know anything about why or anything else. No, no.
So Ani, that's the message right here. Besides what Catherine just said, is you don't have to understand what this is all about. You just need to be lovingly present to it.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
And resolve it.
Oh, it will.
My naming, I found a name.
Yes.
I know what ultimate arbiter.
Well, there are many names. There won't be one. You will find there are layers. Once you've named it, there'll be another one right behind it, and that's okay.
That one, still working with that.
Yeah.
Still. Yeah. And I know how to switch in a second. I know how to center in my heart and let all of that go.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it comes up. I manage fine, but I'm calling it up. I want it to come up. I do. Because there's so much more for me to blossom.
It's beautiful.
And this is something other than that, but it's important.
It's important.
It's
And what
important.
you're doing for you, what you do for you ripples out to all of us. So I thank you for your hard work.
And what you're doing in Bridget Center and
Mm,
everywhere else you are.
mm. Thank you.
And I think the doula work is really wonderful. I mean, it's bringing us back home in a way that we really need to come back home.
Yeah. Mhm.
I
Thank you.
didn't hear your word. Understand? You're what?
For
Doula,
doula work,
end of life doula.
Oh,
end of life doula. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I'm thinking the dying would just be an extended meditation.
Mm.
I don't know. But in terms of consciousness,
Life can be a meditation though.
I'm
Life
sorry.
can be a prayer. All of life can be a prayer, right? Sorry, I think somebody's leaving a message. Anyway, I don't know if you're,
Yeah,
but life can be a meditation if we stay in the observer, the witness,
That's right.
right?
That's right.
So yeah, and in the now.
Of
Yeah.
course. That's it. That's living in process.
I love it. I
Yeah.
love your words. Yeah.
yeah.
Yes. Just staying in the now
Mm.
moment is meditation. And letting it be.
Mm-hmm.
And just
Mm-hmm.
just whatever comes out of me is what, I mean, not whatever comes out of me.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful.
That's what I'm looking at.
I love that. Yeah. Thank you.
So
Thank you.
how, Peggy, how has your journey, how do you see that reflected in where you are now and where it looks like you might be going?
Mm. I'm a part of a process, and I'm part of many in this evolutionary auspicious time of change. So, I have my mind on what I envision for the world, but I don't know how much of it is, it unfolds for its time. So my job is to stay in the moment and just be present to the possibility, I know I more and more I'm seeing everything as both and I'm seeing everything as beautifully divine and unfolding for its time. So I don't have the anxiety and disappointment of the world anymore. I just have more of the gratitude coming through and still staying in duty and service. I don't know if that answers your question, but
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Your future is the now moment unfolding.
yeah, it is unfolding. Yeah.
And there's an
Yeah.
interesting sort of, when you started talking, one of the things I wanted to say was perseverance and persistence, but it's more like dance. Because it doesn't have the push or the rigidity of perseverance and what that means.
Yeah.
And yet the dance, you stay with it, wherever it goes.
Oh,
So there's
that.
that's there, but it's not, it's accepting, it's flowing. It's
Not push. Intuitively, are you ladies feeling when there's the difference between push and flow? Like, can you feel it in your body? It's
Of course, in that instant that you spoke it.
yeah,
because when something feels like push, I get weird. I'm like, and I live, my partner is has strong masculine energy, and he is an engineer, and there's so much order in his life, and he's here to hold order, you know, with building codes and zoning and, you know,
Structure.
biblical scripture and a lot of order, right? And then there's me. and I truly know he's my medicine. Do you know what I mean by that? Like, he's there to teach me to be okay with any,
Nice.
like, to love what is. And he doesn't have to be like me. And more and more, I'm, after 21 years, I'm finally like going, oh, that's okay that he's like that. I don't have to try to change him. He doesn't have to try to change me. You know,
There's a kind of balance. There's a kind of balance.
there is. And, you know, when it comes to like politics and things like that, I am so neutral. It's I love what is in all things. And I'm a part of all things. I just truly have that heart of oneness. And, you know, I live with somebody that has one perspective that aligns with one party. And all I do is stay in a place of, let's be respectful of all sides, and let's learn, you know, it's a learning process. So.
And
Peggy, I want to thank you very, very, very much for sharing yourself with us. I really do.
Thank you.
Very,
It's been an honor.
yeah, very sweet.
Catherine, I just want to say thank you. And I know you said that in your interview. Thank you, Catherine, for having the passion of interconnectivity, the passion of working to connect us all in this new vibration of love on the planet, and letting that unfold in this regenerative dialogue. And I'm grateful for you, Catherine and Ani. Thank
Well,
you.
I hope we see more of you.
Yeah.
I want to talk with you about that. So
All right.
yes, very good.
I look forward to connecting with you beyond this, some kind of way. You're in the network, right?
Yes,
Yes,
I
yes.
am. Yeah, we've talked already in the network. So I plan on plugging in December, now that I've got some things taken care of with my mom and things, you know, that
Good.
things, you know, the path is opening. So Ani, I look forward to connecting with both of you and the rest of the community more. Yes.
Yes,
Thank
indeed.
you.
Thank you.
Very
Thank you.
good.
Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you both.
Mhm.